Good morning, my name is Jake Huyo Peñas, and we discuss about the law enforcement of code of ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind. Too often we forget that enforcement is not a just job for which we are hired as one would hire a laborer. It involves a sworn duty. Service involves dedication and sacrifice of the giving of oneself. These are words that many find hard to swallow in his present day and age, but to the job of professional law enforcement requires a special breed of man. And second, to safeguard lives and priority, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder. We must, however, understand some of the limitations that are present in a truly democratic society. In such a society as ours, this task can be a difficult one because protecting the rights of the criminal. This is sometimes a hard pill for law enforcement officers to swallow. It is easy for an officer to become bitter when he has continually witnessed the ends of justice thwarted by the red tape, politics, and technicalities of the law. The more truly idealistic he is, the more frustrated he can become, especially if he lacks a philosophy or understanding of his true purpose in society which he serves. And next, to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. Respecting the rights of others is not one of man's natural qualities. It seems to be part of his nature of suspect and persecute persecute justice on this earth. Now will there ever be, because of man is not all knowing, nor is he himself perfect. Still we must strive for a form of justice that represents our ultimate capability. This involves not only great on the part of every person in the community but individual sacrifice as well. And next, I will keep my private life unsalted as an example to all. One of the first things that a law enforcement officer must learn is that he has no private life. Every citizen should be entitled to his own private life. Yet, when a person accepts the calling of law enforcement as a voluntary measure, he must be willing to open his privacy as sacrifice to the good of the community which he serves. A law enforcement officer could hide from his neighbors the fact that he is a policeman. Then his private life could be his own. If a policeman has a family, his occupation will become known in the neighborhood within a few days at the most. If he is single and keeps to himself, he may keep his secret a little longer, but he is engaged in active law enforcement within his community. It is inevitable that his neighbors will become aware of it. Once this is known, he will become the object of constant observation. And maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, sword, or ridicule and develop self-restraint. Most officers are prepared to face physical danger and the public expect it. This is due to the fact that when most people think of police work, they think of high-speed cases with guns blazing and similar situation in which the officer's lives is constant danger. And democracy police officer is public officer and as such a servant to the community. Instead of being above reproach or ridicule, he must expect to receive his position. As part of his job, it's not easy to control his temper when being subjected to unnecessary and unjustified scorn or ridicule. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confined to me in my official capacity, rather, will be kept secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. Some officers feels that there is difference in that the information obtained by the doctor and the attorney is freely given the understanding that it will be confidential, whereas the information obtained as part the law enforcement officer can be result of many sources of forms of investigation. And next, I will never permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. It is quite difficult to know which desires is strongest in the some person to help our friends or to hurt our enemies. Both desires are part of our human nature. Helping our friends can be very good thing in itself, but then it involves an inequality in the administration of justice. We are defiling the oath we made to the community in which we serve. In police work, there is a sample opportunity to both hurt enemies and help friends, and it takes person of strong character to properly perform his duties. Under these circumstances, without professional convictions, this can be impossible. I will never act officiously. One of the faults that is common to new officers is that they too knew that they often act officiously. They appear to the public to be over impressed with their own importance. In a way, this is natural because it is associated with pride, and a new officer is usually very proud when he first puts his uniform and badge. And next, with no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or will. The term with no compromise for crimes means that crime will not be knowing permitted. It does not mean that the officer must perform his duties to the letter of the law. Without taking into consideration the spirit of law, no one can predict or guarantee the final results of any ethical. Only God can do. This man can only be responsible for his immediate actions. If an officer does a good job and the criminal is released by the courts, the blame rests not upon him but upon the courts, the jury or society itself. And next, I will never employ unnecessary force or violence. At times, the use of force in the performance of one's duties is an absolutely necessity. There is no escaping it. It is extremely difficult to judge exactly or not. The use of force used in a particular situation was necessary or not. The use of force or violence during interrogations will often produce immediately confessions, but it should be avoided on ethical grounds in that the interrogator seldom knows with complete certainty that suspect is guilty, and the use of force or the third degree on an innocent person is certainly a miscarriage of justice as well as violation of professional conduct. I will never accept gratitude. Gratitudes take two main forms. First is the gratuity given by a person with the sole intent of receiving something in return. Second, that is given solely but of a respect for law enforcement and the job that police officers are doing. To be truly professional, we must first be ethical. We must do what is actually desirable, not merely what we would like to be desirable. And next, I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and accept it is a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. This is the most overlooked and forgotten facet of law, the enforcement by the man of the field. Is this that enables an officer to suffer these difficulties and problems that can help at times so frustrating and discouraging. Police officer must understand that he is one of the selected few. Officers should also understand that any personal reward will not be obtained from the public itself. For the public is difficult master. If there is to be personal reward, it can only come from the job itself or from knowing the significance of the job and the essential role that plays in society. And I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen professions, law enforcement. Proficiency in law enforcement involves many factors. It involves mental and moral and physical conditioning. They are all important. Respect the officer who let himself sleep physically and certainly not able to protect society. The officer who is in good physical condition has the more confidence in his ability and is sensed by those with whom he deals. And as a result, he finds that it is necessary to exert authority as much as it might be otherwise. However, knowing and understanding the code of ethics is not enough. It must actually be practiced, it must believe. And that's the last. And in short, as a police officer, we need to we need to we have to meron tayong panindigan sa ating ating sarili na bilang isang officer dapat meron tayong goal sa ating pinasukan na organisasyon. And sa yun nga sa sinasabi doon na may yung kagaya ng ng pagbibigay ng favor natural lang naman yun yung paggagawa ng mabuti ng pulis, kabutihan. Siyempre gawain talaga ng mga pulis na secure ang safety ng community or secure ang safety ng bawat isa. At hindi naman pwede na di tayo basta-basta pwede tumanggap ng mga regalo. Yun yung sa kagaya yung soul intent, yung kapag bibigyan ka ng regalo, yung merong kapalit. Halimbawa, bibigyan ako ng isang regalo ng isang politika. Syempre, dapat di natin tatanggapin yun. Halimbawa, pag tinanggap mo yun, meron kang utang na loob sa kanya. At saka lahat ng gagawin niya ng kasamaan, hindi ka na makapag-perform ng maayos sa iyong trabaho dahil yun nga binigyan ka niya ng tinanggap mo, tapos siyempre may utang na loob ka, hindi mo huhulihin yun, gawa ng may utang na loob ka sa kanya. At siyempre dapat kapag gano'n ng mga sitwasyon, hindi tayo tumatanggap na mga regalo galing sa iba o kanina po. Meron din naman kusa nagbibigay ng regalo para sa mga kapulisan. Pero as a law enforcement, maintain pa rin natin na hindi tumanggap ng kahit anong regalo, kahit intent ba yan, meron ba siyang kapalit or walang kapalit. Kasi mas mabuti na yung perform mo ng maayos yung duty mo nang walang iniisip. Kasi kapag meron tinanggap, ay may utang na loob ko sa kanya, may ginawa siya mabuti sa akin, dapat nito gawan ko rin siya ng yung parang merong kapalit na sige tutulungan kita ito. Halimbawa yung parang ganun.